Democrat says Republican kids should be killed. Actual justice warrior.
President Trump is now weighing in on Virginia politics. The president calling for Jay Jones, the Democratic nominee for Attorney General, to drop out of the race after text messages from Jones surfaced suggesting a former political opponent should be shot.
With early voting well underway, it's too late for Democrats to find a new AG candidate. Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder explains how this scandal could shake up the race with less than 30 days to go.
So if you guys haven't heard right now, there is a scandal brewing in the state of Virginia.
I haven't watched the video, but I have seen the text stream, and that is an absolutely wild text stream. You guys are in for a treat with this one.
Where the Democratic nominee for Attorney General, a man called Jay Jones, had text messages of his revealed to the public, where it shows clearly and obviously that Jay Jones, again, the guy who is still likely to be the Attorney General for the state of Virginia, wants Republicans murdered for disagreeing with them. Now, none of this should be surprising to anybody out there in the audience. I mean, we just witnessed the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and huge portions of the left openly celebrating said assassination. In addition to that, you had a bunch of politicians like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Jasmine
I mean, so far he hasn't labeled any names that are actually important.
Crockett, and many, many others.
Oh, he wasn't going to have any other names. Okay, just those three, but those three complain about everything that's not the current thing, my favorite object to use.
Endorsing the assassination without explicitly doing so by...
Yes, all three of them that have actually basically said the words, where I'm okay with Charlie Kirk getting murdered, even though they're not toning down their political rhetoric, they don't stop calling us Nazis and the ICE agents, the Gestapo. It's like they are feeding into the narrative that got Charlie Kirk killed. Whether they want to believe it or not, they are.
Digging up all these quote-mined posts and whatnot that, by the way, of course, were put forward by people who were openly endorsing Charlie Kirk's assassination and putting that out there in the public in the same breath as their condemnations. But of course, this is a peek behind the curtain of what these people actually think of you, and Jay Jones's text messages should in no way, shape, or form be treated as a surprise.
They shouldn't be treated as a surprise. They should be treated as what they are, and that is a genuine threat. Again, it might not be to that person, but it is definitely against them and their family.
Because again, this is a broad thing among Democrats. Obviously, if the voters are feeling this way, which polling indicates that they are, they're getting it from somewhere. And obviously, the party leadership that is telling us about how they're fascists and how they're going to take over the country and all that, to a certain extent, buys into their own hype. So this is what we're going to talk about today. The fact that Jay Jones...
I don't even think the left really believes it when they are told that, Trump voters are fascists, they're Nazis, the ICE agents are the Gestapo. And I don't think they actually believe it, because if they did, you would think to look back at history. Okay, what did these guys do? What did these guys do? Oh my God, all those things are horrible. I need to go get a firearm and go start killing these guys in the street. That's what a sane individual would do. They would be like, oh my God, these guys, they are so violent. They are going to kill us all. They're going to wipe us all out. We're not. Obviously, that's, just the other side trying to vilify us. But, it happens in politics. People get vilified. People get upset with each other. Emotions run high.
This stuff, the fact that Jay Jones still believes this stuff, the fact that he is still likely to be the top cop for the state of Virginia, because the Democrats will probably vote for him even more based on these messages because they believe this stuff. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
A month out from statewide elections in Virginia, and now the president has entered the conversation, calling on Democratic Attorney General nominee Jay Jones to step out of the race, following news that Jones sent text messages in 2022 suggesting the top Republican in the state House of Delegates should get, quote, 2 bullets to the head.
So the local news media right now is at the phase where they're covering this in terms of...
Although I will give the credit to the person he was talking to, whoever this person was, for saying, I don't like it when you say these things and, being like, you're making me uncomfortable, man. Cut it out.
Trump's response to these text messages rather than for what Jay Jones actually said for himself. And one of the things that you will notice is that when media outlets decide to highlight this, which by the way, many of them are just ignoring these text messages' existence,
of
what
course
they
they
do
are.
is typically frame this as Republicans pounce or Republicans react or something to do with the Republicans and their crazy reaction to a Democrat who only sent some text messages about murdering his Republican opponent and, of course, his children, which were also in these messages. And, of course, you saw right there the local news media just cut out one specific excerpt of the
media pointing things to make their own agenda? Never.
text, but we're not going to do that. We are going to read the entirety of these messages so you could understand
you guys
where
are
Jay
so
Jones's
in for a
head is
treat.
at, the guy who is likely to become the Attorney General of the state of Virginia. So first off, you need the context for these particular messages. Jay Jones was actually upset because Republicans in the Virginia State House were actually celebrating the life of a Democrat that recently passed away, and of course, Jay Jones didn't like that because Republicans are evil, and if Republicans are praising you, even if it's for a long time serving Democrat in the state house after that Democrat passes away, he thinks that is indicative of you being evil. So he decided to text the following, and by the way, reportedly he texted this to a Republican colleague, somebody across the aisle. However, it's not clear as of right now whether this was the intended person to receive the messages, and Jay Jones normally texts like this to other Democrats, and this time it just got completely out of hand because somebody who saw it wasn't supposed to see it. So these are a couple of years old, but again, it's in response to Republicans saying a nice thing about a Democrat that passed away. That context is absolutely key. So we get
There you go. For you guys who want to read the whole chain and just jump ahead a little, here's the whole chain. All right, now for those who want to watch.
this part of the exchange, which is they say nice things about everyone, LOL. And Jay responds, if those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals and piss on their graves. Send them out awash in something. And then there was a response that says, Jay Jones. And then Jay ends up writing, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in a crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gilbert is the Republican colleague that was put up against Adolf Hitler and Pol Pot, and of course, Jay Jones says every single time he would kill Gilbert in that situation because a Republican is more evil than any historic dictator's level of evil throughout human history. And again, this is just a regular Republican in the Virginia State House. Like, this is not somebody who's crazy, insane, or anything of the sort, but many Democrats feel like your regular, ordinary Republican is the worst thing humanly possible. When they call them fascists and Nazis and the new Hitler, they're actually saying that they're worse than historic fascists, historic Nazis, and Hitler. Now, the response to that is, Jay, please stop.
Yeah. This Jay Jones is making this Republican person really uncomfortable here. It's very obvious, and then he's like, "Well, okay, like I'll stop," and then he immediately does not. Like right here is the exact 1, 2, or. They say nice things about everyone, lol, because Republicans do say nice things about everyone. We do say mean things about some people, but usually it's because those people deserve it, because they're wishing death upon us. But yeah, it's like, this person's, it really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death upon them. It's like, yeah, that's very morbid of him. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll piss on their graves if they die before me. And I'm like, really? Really? You would desecrate a grave He'd probably defecate on it too.
Jay responds, LOL, okay. And then the response is, it really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death upon them. Now we have other messages that start with, you weren't simply asking questions and you know it. Jay says, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. And then you get the response that says, you weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hopping. Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. It
Probably supposed to be hoping.
actually is supposed to read hoping there.
Yep.
Yes, and I've told you this before. Only when people
Nailed it.
feel pain personally do they move on policy. There isn't. I point blank asked you more than 3 times, and you dug in that you meant it. I'm honestly questioning a lot today. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding a little fascists? Yes. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just so wild. Do I think they're evil and breeding little fascists? Yes. It's like, okay, this dude he's about to be potentially become the AG for Virginia, and he's for killing live kids if their parents don't politically disagree with them. Like, Virginia, vote with your fucking heart at this point. Your life may depend upon it.
The messages are quite clear. Gilbert, the Republican in the Virginia State House, is worse than Hitler and Pol Pot put together, gets both bullets in that particular scenario, and in addition to that, Jay Jones is fantasizing about the murder of the children of his political opposition. And by the way,
Yeah, you shouldn't be fantasizing about the murder of children. You shouldn't be fantasizing about children at all, except maybe if you're a loving parent and you want to have some. That's about the only time you should be like, man, I've been thinking about having kids. Not, I've been thinking about kids dying. Like, what? No? You're an odd individual. You go get some therapy and get some help, buddy.
there are images of these little fascists. They happen to be regular-looking, normal white children.
I mean, they look like me and my brother growing up.
Which is obviously a big problem for Jay Jones. And of course, this is the person who is the Democratic nominee for Attorney General. Democrats have not condemned him. They have not called on him to drop out on the race because...
Well, of course they don't, because then they wouldn't have AG in that state. They'd be the Republican candidate, and he might actually clean up the city and lower their crime rates and lock people in jail. Like, come on. We want the guy who's going to do the job properly. I don't think these are kind of positions who should be elected things. These should be, you are getting the job based on who is literally the best for the job. Based on merit. Shouldn't be a popularity contest. This is jobs that affect people's lives.
Again, this is bait for the base. Again, I predict that Jay Jones will get more support after this, not less, because many, many people on the left don't believe Republicans are wrong. They believe that they're evil, which is why so many of them openly celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I mean, it could not be any more obvious than this.
Republican State Delegate Kerry Coyner confirmed to NBC News that Jones sent a series of text messages in August of 2022. According to Coyner, Jones text messaged that if he had 2 bullets for 3 people and one of those people was then House Speaker Todd Gilbert, quote, Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. During the exchange, Jones also added, quote, spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know and he receives both bullets every time.
So yeah, not only do we have the text messages from the local representative who is highlighting what Jay Jones actually believes and thinks and talks about in private repeatedly, but apparently Jones actually called this representative afterwards and said even more crazy stuff.
Coyner
Imagine if a Republican candidate started saying these things about a Democrat. They would never let that go. They would have those on repeat outside of every Democrat senator and congressperson's office. It would be everywhere. They would plaster it on your eyes so that you would literally have every word memorized. They wouldn't shut up about it. But this, no mentions, keep it quiet, and don't condemn him, and definitely don't drop out, because we need you. We need you to have your position of power. even though you're definitely not the right choice for the job.
Said Jones called her after he sent those messages and suggested he wished Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert would reconsider his stance.
Now look, the text messages are absolutely undeniable in my opinion. Obviously, Jay Jones has not denied them, so that also to me confirms the fact
If it were the UK, he would have been arrested for those tweets.
that they're authentic, but you can have your ambiguities or your questions about the phone call because obviously this is somebody in the opposite party releasing this a month before the election. So again, you could have your skepticism there if you will, but make no mistake about it, nothing described in that phone call is anything different than is presented of who Jay Jones actually is in terms of the text messages according to his own words.
After news of the text messages broke,
Takes full responsibility for his actions.
Jones released a statement which says in part, quote, "I take full responsibility for my actions and I want to issue my deepest apology to Speaker Gilbert and his family." He goes
I said I'm sorry because I got caught, and I'm sorry that I got caught.
on to say,
That's
reading
probably
back
what he
those
mean-
words
what
made me
he's
sick to
saying.
my stomach. I
No,
am
they didn't.
embarrassed,
You meant them.
ashamed, and sorry.
Now again,
That's him just trying to cover his ass so he'll get elected to that position.
confirming the authenticity of the text messages is, of course, Jay Jones's apology, but in reality, we all understand that he's apologizing because he got caught. This was revealed before the election, and in no way, shape, or form should somebody who thinks regular, ordinary Republicans are worse than any dictator throughout human history, they get both bullets every time, should be the top cop, should be the Attorney General of Virginia. And that's the thing, even though this is obvious, even though this is just true and factual, the fact is there is a better than not chance that Jay Jones will win the election anyway. There is a better than not chance that this guy will get this victory because a lot of people don't care about this and a lot of people support this. This is how they want them to fight back. This is what they actually
Which is the most sad part of it all, is that there are people who are actively like, no, every single Republican conservative person must die. We can't have any of them left. They're all evil. They're all Nazis. And it's like, no, we're not. In fact, you're the party that's closer to it, especially those who are like, oh, I want to be the socialist. It's like, go look at what Nazi stood for.
believe. And
Go
again,
look it up.
If you don't
I
believe
dare
me,
ya.
go to TikTok.com and look at all the celebration videos of Charlie Kirk and look at all the congressional representatives that went out of their way to defame Charlie Kirk using the same talking points from those celebration videos, even though they are absolutely false, the first chance that they got.
Republicans are seizing on this scandal. Jones' opponent and incumbent Jason Miyares dropped a new campaign ad today about the texts.
Jay Jones confirmed that he hoped an opponent's children could die to advance his political agenda. Can you trust Jay Jones to protect you?
That's a great ad. I hope they spend a lot of money popping that one everywhere. Put it in front of everyone's eyeballs. And then if they would show the whole text chain to show that the other person he's talking to is like trying to get him to not say these things. It's like, hey, cut it out. Like if he had quit right after one, I don't think any of this would have come to light. But he doubled and tripled and then quadrupled down at the end.
More
It's
children?
like, come
Now
on.
again, notice the way that this local news segment is framed. It's like Republicans pounce on this. They put out this particular ad and they show you a little excerpt of it. But in reality, I actually think the better ad I saw on X.com, I'll play it for you right here.
Oh,
Start with breaking news from the campaign trail.
Jay Jones is under fire tonight.
Jay Jones is under fire.
Jay Jones is under fire after messages he sent in 2022 saying former Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert should be shot.
I'm excited about this ticket.
It's been great to be out on the campaign trail with Jay Jones.
just, hey, this is the kind of guy where you can't trust him after he said those things about a guy who disagreed with him. Because if you all of a sudden have any disagreement in policy with him, this guy might want you dead. How can you trust that? How can you trust any word that comes out of his mouth after seeing those text messages? He can apologize all live long day, but he fucking quadrupled down during that text chain. So there is zero chance I could ever trust a word that comes out of his fucking mouth.
You said Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views.
We deserve an attorney general who will stand up for the people of Virginia.
Jones said, quote, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head.
Let your rage fuel you.
Jones doubled down, saying, quote, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes.
How can Virginians trust a man who said something so horrific, so callously?
Only one.
And that was ABC grilling him a little. ABC, not known for its super pro-Republican stances.
People feel pain personally. Do they move on policy?
But regardless of that particular ad, I do think that Jay Jones is destined to be the Attorney General in the state of Virginia. I think voters are going to support him. And by the way, one of the major problems that they have is that early voting starts so early in the state of Virginia that many people have already cast their ballots for him prior to this scandal actually breaking. So yeah, while the media wants to frame this as Republicans pounce on some text messages or whatever, we don't really need to talk about it. In reality, what this actually is more Democratic endorsement of violence. Jay Jones is apologizing now because he's shortly before an election, but make no mistake about it, he believes that, and he will carry that ideology through that Republicans are worse than absolutely anything to the Attorney General's office. You are not getting an impartial Attorney General if you vote for Jay Jones, but guess what? They're going to vote for him anyway.
Yeah, if you're voting for him, you're literally just voting for a guy that if he at all finds out the person he's going against is Republican, he'll want to bury them. He'll actually want to put them 6 feet under.
I mean, again, Letitia James ran on finding something to sue Trump into bankruptcy, and she won in New York.
For real. These woke politicians who keep winning on just being anti-Trump, it's like, what are they going to do when Trump is done being president? Are they, like, hoping to be in these positions of power, hoping that he'll make a 2028 run, try to steal the country, as they would call it, even though we'd still run an election, and if he got all the votes, technically, yeah, he got the votes. Like, okay. You get kind of one of them, and it's like, all right, well... But no, he's not going to do that. I am 100% certain the Trump 2028 hats and 2028 merch is all just to spite Democrats and let Trump make some good money and let the MAGA group just sit and laugh about it. Like, I might buy a freaking 2028 hat just for the lulz.
New York, Virginia is one of those states that's not as left-wing as New York, but they like to go opposite party to whoever's in the White House. So yeah, you can expect this guy to win, and you could expect politically motivated prosecutions, because that's what the Democrats are all about. Now, of course, I leave this up to you. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video,
yeah, if you liked it, click the like button like I am, and smash the subscribe if you're still around for him and for me. His video's in the description as always. But yeah, this guy shouldn't be elected to AG, and yeah, he probably will be. So if you live in Virginia, I probably recommend leaving. Anyway, have a good day.